The interview will be mainly in 2 rounds. So in the first round, I will ask some theory-based questions, and then we can go to some output-based questions and some coding.
Yeah, I'll try to do my best, sir.
Hi folks, කොහොමද? ඉතින් ඔයත් මේ දවස්වල ඉන්ටර්විව් එකකට හම්බලාගෙන ඉන්න කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ෆ්‍රෙෂ් ග්‍රැජුවේට් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, එහෙම නැත්නම් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් තියෙන ඩෙවලොපර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැමෝටම ගොඩක් ලොකු ඇඩ්වාන්ටේජ් එකක් වෙයි කියලා හිතනවා මේ වීඩියෝ සීරීස් එක. මීට අමතරව ඉන්ටර්විව්ස් වලදී අහන මේන් කන්සෙප්ට්ස් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරලා මම සිංහලෙන් වෙනම වීඩියෝ සීරීස් එකක් කරගෙන යනවා. ඉතින් ඒකත් බලන්න. ඒ වගේම මොක් ඉන්ටර්විව් එකකට පාර්ටිසිපේට් කරන්න ඕන නම් පල්ලෙහින් කමෙන්ට් එකක් දාන්න. channel එක subscribe කරලා දිගටම set වෙලා ඉන්න. Okay, I'll start with HTML. So basically, how can we create a form in HTML?
Yeah, HTML means HTML is we can use to react with in HTML in React we can use HTML in as XML. That means HTML means the structure. That means we can HTML used to build a structure on the web page, and in React we can use HTML with XML as XML. I think.
So you haven't much work with PHTML without React?
No, sir. I'm doing my all the projects with HTML with React.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, so when we are submitting, let's say for API handling or for form handling, we have two methods, get and post method. So, what is the difference between?
Yeah, get means we can retrieve all the data. Post means we can create a data. Like we can like a function as example we can with get means as an employee table when we can get all the, using get method we can get all the employee details, but post method we can use to add a new employee like that.
Any difference when it comes to HTML perspective or the browser level with the response body or like parameters and everything?
Yeah, in get method we used to in React there are two types like functional and class. So when we get functional to get we can pass we should pass the data as props or like that, and I think that's the answer.
Okay, so do you know about data attributes in HTML?
uh,
You haven't used.
Data attributes I can't get it, sir.
Okay. So I'll jump to CSS. Are you familiar with the CSS or like you're doing the data binding or backend things?
Yeah, in I worked both full stack. I worked as full stack.
So you got some knowledge in with CSS, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So can you explain the difference between margin and padding?
yeah. Margin means uh, yeah. Margin means like space out space the element, space outside like element. Padding means space inside the element.
Okay. Can we give minus values for margin and padding? Both?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you worked with Flexbox?
Sorry.
Have you worked with Flexbox? Flex?
Flex. Uh, Flexbox. I have no idea too much.
Okay.
What's the Flexbox means?
So basically, how you maybe I need to send an element to the page. Uh, I have a div. Let's say I have a div. I need to send some element to that div. So in that kind of scenarios, how we do that in C? CSS level.
Okay, sir. I got it.
Okay, so there is a CSS property called flex. So maybe you can learn more about that later. Okay, have you heard about media queries?
Sorry, media
Queries?
uh, in CSS, right?
Yeah.
Uh, no, sir.
Okay, so in your projects, how did you achieve the responsiveness of the pages, screens?
Yeah. In now some in my some projects I use the Beat or White library for to responsive, and yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'll jump into JavaScript. Are you familiar with JavaScript?
Okay, sir. I'll try to do my best.
Okay, okay. So can you like what are the data types available in JavaScript?
Yeah. In JavaScript variables, like like data types means string, boolean, object, like symbol. I think that's the data types in JavaScript.
Okay. So can you explain the difference between var, let, and const?
Yeah. In var let const, var means functional scope, but let and const are block scope. In var, we can reassignable, but let also we can reassignable, and const we cannot reassignable. Var we can redeclare, but let and const we cannot redeclare. That's the main difference between.
Oh, okay, okay. So what are the scopes available in JavaScript?
Uh, I think uh, scopes means access modifiers.
No, like you already mentioned about functional scope, right? So
Yeah,
what are the other scopes? Sorry.
uh, functional scope and mm, block scope.
Mm-hmm.
Other
Any
than
other? Okay.
um, uh, and class scope.
Uh, Really?
Um,
So we have the global scope as well.
yeah, global scope.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the difference between null and undefined?
Yeah. In null represent the absence of any object value, but undefined, yeah, like uh, like indicates that variable been declared but has not been assigned any value. I think that's different.
Okay. All right. Uh, have you heard about closures in JavaScript?
Yeah.
Can you explain what is a closure?
Closure. In closure means it means like the function to we can use function to remember the variables and functions that are declared in its outer space.
Okay. What is set timeout and what is set interval?
Yeah.
So for what
Um,
situations we can use them? What kind of situations?
um, I have no idea, sir.
Okay. So you haven't used the set timeout at all in your projects?
Uh, I used, but
Okay.
no,
What does the set timeout do basically like? Any idea?
Yeah, it I think it's like a limitation of some time or like that.
Okay. So what kind of methods you have used in JavaScript? Like we have the map for each field, those kind of methods. Have you used any of them?
Yeah, I used map for like in JavaScript to uh, get the list of something. I use map.
Hmm. Any other methods?
Uh, what are the other methods
Like
that you have
have you
mentioned?
used any kind of like for each field, the reduce anything? No.
Uh, yeah,
Find? No.
no.
Okay. All right. Okay, then I'll jump into React now. So I think you are familiar with React, right?
Okay, yeah.
So what is Visual DOM and how it works?
Yeah, virtual DOM means it's a lightweight copy of real DOM. As example, when we're doing some changes in a web page, like we change some, as example, we change some button. It's compare the previous version and previous version and now version and get the on that change only like and re-render the web page. Only get the
Okay.
only changes only get.
Okay. So how it re-render the page based on some changes?
Uh, it means
So is it automatically re-rendering or you need to perform some actions there? Like in code level, how can you re-render the page?
we can we can use like like we can use some we can use a use effect like
Mhm.
re-render to the page.
Okay, okay. So can you explain about props and state? Yeah.
Yeah, in yeah props there are two types, no function and class base. Props are used in uh, functional components, but state is used in class components. Props we can't modify it, but state we can modify it, and props are only read only, but state we can both read and write both, and yeah, and props is passing the data component to in another component, but state is data passing within the component.
Okay. So you mentioned like we are using state in class components and props in functional components.
Yeah,
That is not correct. You can learn more about that use in both class components and
yeah,
functional components. We have both.
yeah. State we can use functional component using hooks, I think. Yeah,
Yes, correct. Okay. So how can we pass data from a component to another component in React?
we can use props.
Okay. So can we pass data from parent component to children component using props?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So then can we pass data from children component to parent?
Uh, no, we can't.
There is a way. Maybe you can check more on that later.
Okay.
Uh, so can you explain the component life cycle in React?
Yeah, component lifecycle in React, mounting, unmounting, updating.
Mhm.
In mounting, the first render of the component. Unmount means cleans up the when the component is removed. Updating means re-rendering when state of props change. It's re-render to get the update.
Okay. So how can we achieve these methods in maybe in, so have you try these methods in your projects? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously.
In mounting, we can use component did mount and render method also. In updating, we can use constructors, component did mount and render functions also. Yeah.
So those are for class components, right? So in functional components, how can we achieve these methods?
We can use a set state.
Really? So basically, how can you um, do something when like let's say I want to do something when you so click on something or you should do something on the page, I need to re-render that means update, right? So in functional components, how can we achieve this?
Yeah. We can use hooks.
Yeah. So which hook we can use?
We can use like use effect, use context like that.
Okay. So so which situations we are using use effect for each kind of scenarios we are using?
Uh, it's usually like we use we can use it like manage the like side effects of the functional components like when we want to when click the web page we want to render some function we can use effect to do that.
Okay. All right. So how can we achieve this unmounting? Like I need to do something when the component gets unmounted from the DOM. So can we do that in React in functional components? Then how?
uh, we can use garbage collector.
Using a hook, we can do that.
uh, yeah I think we can use it use effect also.
Yes. Yeah. We need to do. I mean, use something else as well. With return method, we can fire that action. So we use return method return inside use effect. It will fire when the component gets unbound. Okay. So have you
Okay.
heard about high order components?
Sorry.
Have you heard about higher order components in React?
Higher order components. Uh, no, sir.
So what about PO components?
Mm, I have no idea about.
So for components, have you used any maybe use memo or something?
Yeah, like use memo means like like it's memorizing the values to performs. I think we can use memo.
Okay. Have you used React memo in your component?
No, I mostly used use effect.
Use effect. Okay. Okay. So in React, when we have the same props, we don't need to like if the props are the same, we don't need to basically re-render the component, right? We need to
Yeah.
avoid that scenario. So how can we do that?
Uh, sorry, sir. Can you repeat
For,
that
for
question?
the when we have the components inside components, so when we are passing props, it redundancy every time when we are passing props. So from component to components when we have a lot of components inside a component. But for some components, it can be the same props as in previous time. But for some components, it's not the case. Those should need to update, right? So for those components which has the same set of props, like we don't need to re-render those components. So have you came across any kind of scenario like that? Like,
Yeah. Uh, yeah. We can use callback.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You scroll back. Okay. So basically, I'm asking about the concept of PO components. So you can use React memo and all. Use memo and use callback also. We used to memorize values and functions. So
Yeah.
maybe you can learn more about that later.
Okay.
Okay. So have you heard about prop drilling in React?
Uh, uh, no, sir.
Okay. So have you used any state management systems in React? Like context API or Redux.
Yeah. I used sometimes. I use sometimes, but not too much.
Is it context API or Redux?
Redux.
Okay, all right. Okay. Mm, how can we like? Do you know about server-side rendering?
Yeah.
So can you explain a bit about it?
Uh, yeah, server-side rendering is we can usually we can usually do in the websites with static content. That means while client side rendering is used to render dynamic, but server side we can use static content.
Okay, all right. Um, so let's say I have a large list I need to iterate through. So how can we render this large list in React? So any techniques you have followed in your project? So any idea?
Uh, uh, yeah, I have no ideas.
Okay. So how do you manage the API handling, API calls handling in your projects?
I used Axios.
Access. Okay. Can you explain like how it works? So
Yeah,
what kind of
Axios.
keyword you have used? Likewise.
Yeah, in Axios we used to manage the HTTP request. In like we handle the asynchronous. We used await callback promises like that.
Mhm. So, what is this sync, await, and the promises? Can you explain a bit more?
Yeah, it means asynchronous means the task is not wait to complete others and execute. So we can manage that using await and callback and promises.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, if there is any error, how can you handle?
We can try catch. We can use try catch to error handling.
Okay. By any chance, have you used error boundaries in React?
Uh, uh, no, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. Right. Then I think we can go to the next round. So I will share your link.